And it is Ryan Fowler here with, you can use a fake name, real name, whatever you want to, my man.
What's up, guys? I'm Daniel Molina.
Daniel Molina. And Daniel, you were a member of, tell us how you found me.
Yeah, I found you through John's Masculine Empowerment Network. I was following him on YouTube. I still am, and I watch his content. And then, I joined his program to become, a more high value man, empowered man to change my life. And so when I joined the network, I really didn't know what I was going to meet and what I was going to accomplish. But you were there, and then you were talking about hypnosis and the effects of it, and how the trauma really holds guys back. And so
Yeah.
that really appealed to me, because I knew on some level of consciousness like that I was suffering from trauma, and I just didn't know how to get rid of it or how to handle it.
Yeah.
So when you were that expertise and you spoke confidently about it, I was okay. I need to talk to you, and so I reached out. And
That was, what was that, about a year ago now?
about a year ago, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I've interviewed people like right after a session. I've interviewed people like 5 months later after 2 sessions. But the thing that's interesting about you is you've been doing the self-hypnosis audios as well as a couple sessions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're a guy that's a little further along and is really using this stuff to improve your life. Correct?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, so what I'd love for you to explain to guys is maybe, only share what you're comfortable sharing, of course, because I know a lot of what I go into with guys is personal. And a lot of guys struggle with shit and they don't even realize how many other people struggle with it. But maybe tell us, you had some trauma, and go in as much or as little detail about what you struggle with. But then, did we do 2 sessions or 3?
We did 2.
2, and then a
Two.
bunch of self-hypnosis. So can you maybe talk about any progress, improvements? I gotta put that on silent. You noticed after the first session, second session, and then we want to talk about the self-hypnosis audios and how those impacted you. So whatever you feel comfortable sharing after the first session, how that worked and how that helped.
Sure. So, when I reached out to you, I was already kind of going through therapy, but talk therapy.
Yeah,
And I just,
psychologist on the couch, right?
yeah, on the couch kind of thing. But also, I didn't say this before, but I knew that you were going to be really impactful in my life because I had done other kinds of therapies in the past, like EMDR, and that was something that really helped me out for a moment in my life, which is almost kind of similar to what you do. Might be a little less intense, because hypnosis is I found to be very powerful, and so that's what I knew.
First session.
Huh?
How intense was your first session?
It was intense. It was kind of just what I expected, but a little bit more intense. I didn't think it was gonna be like that, but I knew that it was gonna be a little emotional on how it was.
Okay.
But I was struggling with family issues and father abandoning me and toxic mother and single mother household and things like that. So I knew that I had issues like that. I was suffering from it. Had trauma.
Yeah.
It replays in your mind every day, and after a certain point of living with like 10, 15 years, you're like, this is replaying constantly, so it must mean something, and I'm feeling terrible about it. So,
do you mind sharing how that trauma made you struggle day to day?
Sure. It kept me struggling because I would always be internally focused on that issue, rather than being in the moment and just living life to my fullest and being, I would always be looking inward, using all my energy to mask my pain and keep me from, crying on the street or lashing out during interactions or things like that. So all my energy was just focused on like suppress this. Rather than just being.
Were you tired a lot? Just all the energy tied up.
Yeah, I was always tired. I never had like zest for life. At a certain point, I just lost it. You know what I mean? At a certain point, you just kind of go like lethargic, and you're like, I don't even care. Things started to lose their newness. You know, there's so many things in the world that I haven't that were new to me, but I just didn't care. It didn't have an impact on me because
What about anxiety?
oh, anxiety, yeah, no, anxiety. I couldn't handle confrontations or anything that involved yelling or standing up for myself or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I always was closed in, you know, I would just shrivel up, be quiet because that's part of my conditioning growing up was like, you know, shut up and know your place kind of thing, you know? So I would never know how to set boundaries. I would always just shrivel up, be quiet. I thought low of myself. I have a lot of negative self-talk as well, you
Yeah,
know?
and no boundaries means if people bullied you, would you give in, or how would you react to that?
I would give in.
Taking
I,
advantage of you, or no?
yeah. Yep. I would give in knowing that I was being bullied and that I should stand up for myself, but I just I didn't have the strength
And what
to
about like approach anxiety with women? Was that an issue?
that was a huge issue.
Okay.
Huge issue. I mean, I would shoot my shot every 200, 300 girls that I would meet or something, you know? Instead of now it's like one in every 50, 75, you know what I
Okay.
mean? Yeah. So like that's a huge development in my life, you know? Like sometimes
Five,
now
6 times as much. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I, you know, sometimes I have a conversation with girls. I just go up to them, and when I'm done, I'm like, "Holy crap! Did I just do that?" You know, and it's awesome.
So what after the first session were things different, and if so, how were they different?
Sure. Things were different. As far as the immediate factor, as far as how I felt, like you know, remember when you're carrying all this trauma, it's like a weighted bag. So in terms of how you feel a lot more relief. You
Was it
know,
like
you don't feel
really subtle difference, or noticeable, or how substantial was it?
the relief is noticeable, right? That's definitely noticeable. But the effects of the psychological changes that you go through because of releasing all the trauma, that takes a little bit to kind of get into because when you do that, you're cutting out all that trauma and the mindsets that go along with that, you know? So
Yeah.
before when I had all this trauma, I was like, I'm worthless, I don't have any value, I should shut up. As opposed to now when you do that 6 months later, now you're like, no, you know what? I got a voice. I'm
Yeah.
empowered.
Fuck
You
yeah.
know, fuck
Fucking
it,
love
yeah.
that. So fucking awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Three
just
X.
takes time.
What's that?
It just takes time. It just takes time to realize that. You know what I mean? Because like the way that I describe it in my mind is like your body's moving at the pace of like you know chronological time, so you're mature and everything, but you're inside your psychological, like your psychology or your spirit or whatever the hell you want to call it is like catching up to this new you know person that you're exuding outside
And it could
yourself.
just take time to notice how you're different. Like, oh, I don't react the same way in this situation. I react in a better way now. And geez, that surprises me. Is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
right or
yeah.
no?
That's right. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Sometimes you interact, you do something, you're like, that's completely different.
yeah. Awesome. So now, of course, what I tell people is now let me ask you this difference, this relief you had from the one session, was that temporary or permanent, or partially temporary, partially permanent? The
The
benefit.
relief that I had,
Yeah, the relief and the
no,
benefit from the first session. Did the trauma ever come back, or was a big chunk of it gone forever, or did part of it come back, or
no, a big chunk of it was gone.
forever?
A big chunk of it, a big of it. You know, like I would say yes, there's maybe some residual stuff there,
Yeah,
but it doesn't have the same impact anymore. That's 100%.
of
Like
course.
if it was, it's if you think of like a hand on your brain as far as the memory, it let go. It really let go. And
Yeah,
so
yeah, awesome. And I tell guys this all the time. We're kind of like layers of the onion. Let's say we peeled a layer away of your trauma, and there's often another layer underneath, or other things that start bothering you more because you're focused on the big trauma before. Now there's maybe something slightly smaller, still could be serious underneath. Did you notice that with you?
yeah,
What did,
yes,
what did
yes.
you notice?
I noticed just I didn't know how deep the rabbit hole was in my mind, you know? Like you said,
Our
you
psyche
focus on the
snapped.
big yeah, exactly. You
Yeah,
notice the big trauma stuff. Like when your father like when my father abandoned me, right? That's a big trauma. So you're focused on that alone. But
oh,
you don't realize that once you get rid of that, there's other things that, like, because of what he did happen, that created subconscious like understandings of yourself, or that you believe about yourself, that you now have to dig away at and kind of let go, you know?
And the other traumas tend to be smaller though, right? It's like the biggest one that occupies you.
Yes, yes.
So we got a huge chunk of that gone forever. And then there's other stuff underneath. And
Hmm.
so is that why you came back for a second session, or what prompted you to want to do a second session?
Well, because what prompted me was this stuff is kind of hard to navigate, and I needed like a guide, and you like you know what you were doing, so I needed your help because you could like relax me a lot more than just me personally. You know what I mean? Like I remember in our session, there was a moment where like I was trying to do the you know, going through the barrier, and like I was like nervous and scared,
I
and
like giving
so
your inner child encouragement, if I remember.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
saying,
exactly.
okay, buddy.
Yeah, yeah. You
Yeah.
know, so a person that knows how to navigate that realm is needed, because I was still new to it. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to. I didn't have the courage.
Yeah.
You know.
I I remember, but you got the courage and you did it anyways, and you did it. I may have
Yeah.
encouraged you, but you're the one who did it. Um,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
so second session, how was the second session? What did you notice afterwards?
The second session was good. It was just as important as the first session because it was all related to my family. But I knew how to have the conversations with those people in my space, and I was more courageous. I mean, honestly, I know I'm using that word a lot, but you really are. You build a certain
You killed
bravery
your
about
first
yourself.
dragon. You killed your first dragon. You're like, I can kill another one, man. I've done this before.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like it's not as scary as you think. You know, it's not that bad. You know, and you gain a sense of like I don't
You know you
know.
have the power, man. You've seen
Yeah,
it. You've
yeah,
seen yourself the first time you went through. You claimed your power. You cleared this shit out. It's like I know this shit
yeah.
works, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like you claim your individuality. You know, you're like yes, this I can beat this dragon. Like you're not bigger than me, kind of thing. Yeah.
yeah, fantastic. I was gonna ask something. Um, my damn phone keeps ringing. That's my day job. So between the first session and the second, it was a few months, right?
I would say yeah, about 2 months.
Yeah, and I have self hypnosis audios. Did you try those at all between the first and second?
Yeah. Yes.
How did that work
I
for you between the first and second? The self.
because at the beginning of the session, it was I didn't grasp the understanding and the routine of it, and how to properly utilize the video, the audios. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. That's
like
the big thing is you need education to use the self hypnosis audios. I agree.
yeah, yeah. I was just doing it as a routine of like, all right, we'll just do it every day and it'll work. I didn't realize that there was a connection between feel the trauma and then do it. You know,
It's
because you can
it's
you
an active thing. It's not just passively listening.
right,
And
right,
that's
exactly.
I'm known. I'm not saying I get massive results for 100% of people that come through my door because some people struggle connecting to shit, but most people get really big results, and I'm known for getting people big results. And that's because we're actively going in, finding the trauma, connecting to it, bringing it out, sending it away, and then putting all this good shit in to replace it. So it's an active process, right?
Mhm.
So,
Yes, yes.
but you eventually figured out how to use the self hypnosis audios. Is that right?
I did after the second session, and then
Did I help you, or did you just figure it out? Or after the second session, you're like, oh, okay, I kind of you're developing a skill and seeing me demonstrate to you how it's done, and then it clicked, or what happened to?
yeah, it just I mean, I like you know, I heard I keep watching some of your videos, and you keep mentioning you know the trauma. You got to feel it. You got to feel it. You got to
Feel
feel
it,
it.
see
So yeah, and finally, I one day, well, what was it? Oh yeah, one day I was at home and I was just doing my homework, and suddenly I had this anxiety come over me, and I isolated the like what was causing it,
Mhm.
and I was like, I think this is the moment that I have to do the trauma. I just stopped what I was doing, and I did it, and then I
Let,
had
let me ask you, what were you anxious about? Anxiety is always, oh, there's a potential for pain here. There's a potential for something that's going to make me feel bad or physical pain, but in our world, it's usually, it's usually emotional pain. Did you connect to the emotional pain, or what happened?
Yeah, it was something that I was thinking about that just transferred like to my body and produced this feeling of anxiety,
Yeah, yeah.
like a memory of something. I forgot what it was though.
Okay, so then what happened?
So then I took that pain as soon as I had it, and then I went straight to the audio. I put on the headset and I just did it right there.
And
And
was
it
the
was it
pain
was
was the pain anxiety, or was it something your anxiety was trying to avoid? What was it that you ramped up and sent away? Did you send away anxiety or some pain being?
no the pain,
There you
the
go,
pain.
100%. Because the
Yeah,
anxiety is a tool our brain uses when it sees potential for pain.
yeah.
It gives us anxiety, so we get out of there and avoid it.
That's
So
what I mean. When I say anxiety, I'm putting the trauma with anxiety. That's what I'm saying.
yeah, cool. Well, and this is important. I'm glad you say anxiety because a lot of people feel anxiety. And see, I did self hypnosis audios for 2 years before I got hypnotherapist training and took live sessions from others. And the hardest thing for me to clear was anxiety because it's like, okay, when I feel trauma, I ramp it up, I send it away in hypnosis and it's gone. But then with anxiety, that doesn't get rid of it. And my realization was I don't send anxiety away. I find out, okay, what's the worst thing that can happen right now that is causing my anxiety, causing my fear of something bad happening? What is that thing? Then you connect to that and send that away, right?
Yes, that's 100% how it is. 100%.
100%. And that's, if people don't get that, then they can keep having anxiety. You
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
get the underlying thing that's causing the anxiety. So, sorry to
yeah.
interrupt. And
No, my fault to the guys that's watching it. It's the trauma. Focus on the trauma that what's causing the anxiety. That's what it is. It's not the anxiety itself. It's a manifestation. It's an alarm system to like tell you like this is what's causing it.
yeah, and trauma is always a type of what? It's a type of emotion. Like
Motion, yeah.
I feel terrible. I feel worthless. I feel unsafe. I feel I'm
Yeah.
angry and pissed, or right.
Yep.
Yeah. So then what happened? You felt the anxiety, you connected to the pain, and then what happened with the self-hypnosis?
And no, and then I had the visualizations and I focused on it and I just cleared it. I just cleared it, and it was a super, just like our first session, highly emotional, just like that. It's
Awesome.
my experiences with you and the work that you've done is like the most intimate moments I've had in my personal life. That, you know what I mean? There's nothing more deeper than that. I mean, I know others will say like sex or whatever, but even it transcends that because you're in it in yourself, man. This is
Go
like
to
you
your core, man.
to your core, to your,
And how
just to
much
your deep level.
is this more effective than how much psychotherapy, just sitting on the couch psychotherapist, how much of that did you do?
I was doing that for almost a year now, and after I did 3, 4 sessions with you, I was like, I felt so confident to just leave this guy right after the effect, but I was just like, let me just stay around for like another 3, 4 months, and then I just ended it. I ended with the psychotherapy. I'm
Oh,
like,
was
I
it
don't
like
really need you anymore.
every week, every other week you'd go to them, or?
Yeah, I started out every week, and then it went to every 2 weeks, and now it ended with every month, and that was it. Once
So
a month.
what we're doing, this hypnotherapy, sounds pretty evident it's was more effective for you than the psychotherapy, right?
Yeah, yes,
How much
yes.
more effective? Twice as effective, 5 times, 10 times, 50? Just
A
ballpark.
hundred times. I can't even tell you. I really can't tell you how powerful this is. Psychotherapy after doing this is just like I don't even think you should consider it at all. Like have have a conversation with yourself or find
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, have a guide, have just a guy like Fowler or anyone else, and just you really don't need it. Really don't need it.
So before you did this, you had a ton of energy reserved in not crying, avoiding pain, managing anxiety. Is that all correct?
Mhm.
How are you different now after all this and the self hypnosis? Like, how many traumas do you think you've cleared with the self hypnosis? Was it just the one time?
No, Ryan, Ryan, check this out, man. Listen, I value this stuff so much that I put this as a priority over college. Over before I
Wow.
start my day, listen, before I start my day, my work day, my school, anything, I do this first. I value this more than my college and my work. I don't touch my job until I make sure that I'm mentally, spiritually sound, and that's part of that.
That
Now,
that's why I do this, man. It's like
yeah,
once I learn this, it's like how can I not use this to help others because it's so fucking powerful. Hey,
because of that, I'm so look. Since then, I left the apartment that I was in. I mean, I was living with my brother, which was a toxic relationship because we were two different
yeah,
people. I got my own place. I built my apartment up. I'm about to graduate with a bachelor's. I'm in my company. I've excelled so much that I'm pretty much the go-to guy. It's like the CEO and the partners, and then myself. I'm almost on the verge of practically running the
have you
company
gotten
myself.
promoted and stuff, or
Yeah, yeah.
how much has
I'm
your
in charge.
income gone up? I'm just curious if you don't mind sharing. Like, is your income noticeably higher, a little higher?
It's a little higher. I combine with the school because I'm a veteran. I'm at 65, 70.
Very good.
You know,
Very good. How
yeah.
much
But
happier are you now than before you started this?
how active am I?
Happier. How much happier?
Oh, a lot happier. A lot. Like I can't wait till like the next day where I could go and like I'm like fighting right now to get to the point where I should have been because of all this trauma. And
Mhm.
like I want to be there because I'm ready for it. I'm not afraid of it.
You're
I
ready.
walk around more calm.
You're ready to take it to the next level.
Yeah, yeah. You
Yeah.
know,
So these self hypnosis audios, um are they at all different? If you were recommended to guys, would you say, hey, take a couple sessions so that you can use the audios better? I mean, what's the difference between the self hypnosis audios and a session with me?
I,
Have the
I
audio, go ahead.
I recommend going with you first or with someone first because if you're brand new, you need some guidance.
Yeah.
You need to know how to use this stuff first because if not, you're just gonna waste time and it's gonna take you harder to figure it out. So
Yeah.
I always recommend a teacher. Like John says, a mentor, find a mentor
Yeah. Cool. But then the self hypnosis, you can listen to those anytime you want.
anytime. Like before I try to do your stuff like at least twice a week.
Mhm.
Before it was before it was like maybe once a month because the emotional outbursts and all that stuff it drained me too much, and I
I
was
know
I
it,
was
it,
done.
it's really intense when you get the initial trauma out. If you have a lot of trauma, it's really intense the first couple times.
Yeah, yeah,
But it does get less intense because you got the worst stuff out. Now you're working on smaller stuff, right?
yes, 100%.
Cool, man. Anything else you want to share with any guys who are struggling, who are depressed, lots of anxiety, think they're not good enough, or anything else they're struggling with? Anger, rage. Like, did you have anger, rage, resentment?
Oh, I was so angry. It took a lot of my energy was to hold back the anger that I wanted to lash out at people.
Where's that anger now?
In the gym.
Do you feel bitter, anger, resentment now, or is that gone, or is
I,
it lower?
I mean, no, I'm not gonna lie. There's some there a little bit that you kind of have to tackle that.
Mhm.
Some things are deeply, deeply seated in there, so it just takes a minute to kind of find what the pain is a little bit.
Yeah.
And like recently, I'll share with the guys like I was reading a book like No Mission Nice Guy, and I realized that I had a attachment to my mother, a monogamous relationship. So I used the therapy sessions to help me clear that trauma right there,
So you
my
clear up all
dependency,
sorts of shit.
all sorts of shit. Yeah.
2 sessions with me, self hypnosis audios, and how many bad toxic programs do you think you've cleared?
I would say maybe 15, 20.
Fucking A. Permanently, right? Or no?
Yeah. No, permanently, permanently.
Permanently. It just keeps
Yeah.
on getting, you clear more, and
Yeah.
life just keeps getting better and better
Yeah.
and better.
I'm constantly changing every day. My mindset is more positive every day. I get up, I do my stuff, and I'm like, yo, I'm badass. I'm kick ass.
Fucking A,
I'm
you
the
are.
shit. I'm the shit.
And dude, the more you're like, dude, I'm a fucking badass. You get that because you get that in your core, right? Where you like actually
Yeah.
believe it. It's not just some affirmation you say to a mirror and then you're like, ah, it's not really true. I don't buy that. You feel it in your
Yeah.
core. And then you just start
Exactly.
kicking ass. You're getting promoted, all this, getting your bachelor's degree. Well, you did the work. You're the one who makes the choice to do these self-hypnosis audios and move it forward. So congratulations to you. It's my honor and pleasure to help you. We only got like a minute left. Anything final you want to tell any of the guys struggling or thinking of doing this?
Guys, if you're thinking about or struggling to do this, don't hesitate anymore. I know it seems scary, but you really are powerful enough to get this done and to go through it. But it just takes a lot of courage, and that's the difference between you and everyone else that is above you. You know, so just take the first step. Let Ryan, guide you, and then just do it every day. That's it.
Awesome, man. Daniel, you're a fucking rock star. I appreciate you, dude. I really do. Thank you for sharing this with the guys. It's going to help them out a lot. I do appreciate it.
I hope it does. I really do.
I gotta go. I got an appointment, but honor and pleasure. Let's keep in touch, my man.
We will, man. Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye.